Yo guys, what's going on? It's Logan coming at you from Hunting Pros, and welcome back to another one. To be quite honest, I've been meaning to bring this video to you guys for quite some time, but my personal life has been pretty hectic. Starting in the spring, I became heavily involved in the wildfire responses here in Nova Scotia. Very rewarding work, but took up a lot of my time and took away from the channel. So I apologize for that. You probably noticed not a lot of stuff has rolled out this spring, but that is one of the reasons for it. Another reason, I picked up a new puppy, guys. For those of you that don't follow me on social media, I am now the proud dad of a Nova Scotia duck-tolling retriever. His name's Hopper. Beautiful little dog. He's just 12 weeks old now. He has that natural inclination to retrieve and to please, which is great. And yes, I'm hoping to turn him into a good duck dog. I have never done this before, guys. I've been around hounds for the best part of my life, but I have never trained a retriever. So for anybody that has done that and would be willing to help me out or give me some tips and tricks, please leave me some nice comments below and I'll make sure to get back to you and correspond with you accordingly. I'd also like to note that in this video, all of these clips took place here in Nova Scotia over tidal waters. I live close to the ocean, guys, and I find there to be quite a few ducks out in these spots. So that's why I always choose to hunt in the saltwater rather than in fields or in fresh water. I would also like to note, I exclusively used Kent Cartridge Fasteel 2.0 last season, and I fully plan to use Kent Cartridge products this season as well. I am in partnership with them. If you would like to check out my review of Fasteel 2.0, the link is in the description below. If you do enjoy this video, please slap the like button and also subscribe. And of course, as always, stay tuned for next time. Well, starting with clip number 5, and yes, I am enjoying a coffee as I explain this to you guys. My buddy Mike and I were out. We were having a really slow morning. Actually, probably one of my slowest mornings of the season. This day, I think we only ended up shooting 2 or 3 birds. But this clip came out of it, which is pretty interesting. So my buddy Mike decided, he jumped in the boat. He said, you know what? I'm going to go check out another blind. The wind had switched on us. It wasn't on our back. It was kind of in our face. And the birds that we did see weren't tending to where we were, which was a sign that we had to move. So he gathered up some of the decoys, threw them in his boat, and he went to another nearby blind where the wind direction would have been better and whatnot. So I just decided to sit in the blind. I was just sitting there by myself, and this lone black duck came in, and it circled the decoys 4 or 5 times, which is rare for a black duck. Like, from my experience, I find black ducks are a little more tricky to kind of get to do that. Like, you'll get that with teal, you'll get that with other birds, but black ducks, usually you'll only get a pass or 2, and that's it. Anyway, this duck did it like 4 or 5 times, and every time he was coming a little bit closer. So the last time I got down, I hit my call, and he made the mistake to come right over the blind. So I jumped up, I was using my Beretta over-under, fired, and just the way the duck went down, he literally spiraled like this and then hit the water. That is clip number 5. I hope you enjoy it. One down. Well, on to clip number 4. This video took place in the earlier part of the duck season with my buddy Charles. We hit a spot that we go to a couple times a year, and this blind always produces birds, guys. It's a great blind. But anyway, first light, we're sitting there. We can hear the whistling coming. We look up. There's a bunch of ducks coming into the decoys, and they're fully committed. Charles and I jump up. We fire, both of us. 3 birds go down. Great start to the morning. Honestly, great shooting on both of our parts, I believe. The funny part of this is, though, I thought only 2 birds went down. If it wasn't for Charles making a good observation, I honestly would have been out there looking for 2 birds. Anyway, that's clip number 4. Come on to him. That one went down. 2 of them went down.
Nice, buddy.
Nice, man. I'm glad you realized there was 3 because I thought only 2 went down.
Yeah, 2 younglings, I think, and 1 big one. Nice.
So clip number 3 took place at the end of the hunting season. It was the middle of January. There was lots of birds flying, but I'll tell you right now, the conditions were absolute crap. Like blowing 60 to 70 kilometers an hour. To get to these spots, we have to use a boat to go out in tidal waters and go to these areas. So you can only imagine, with the tide pulling one way and with 70-kilometer-hour gusts hitting the waves, it was sloppy. Whitecaps, really brutal to go through in the boat. It was also raining that day. It was mixing into freezing rain, mixing into snow. It was just a really crappy day to be out. But we put the time in, and on this particular hunt, we ended with a double limit of birds, and it was a mixed bag. We had teal, we had mallards, we had black ducks. So it ended up being a really good day, numbers-wise. It just wasn't fun to sit there the whole time. But this particular clip, my buddy Mike and I were out. He had left the blind to go check on his boat for obvious reasons. He had it tied up, and with the hectic winds and whatnot, he wanted to make sure his boat was fine. So he was checking the boat. All of a sudden, I heard whistling, and I look up, and out of nowhere, there's this really nice flock of green-winged teal coming in. That time of the year in Nova Scotia, mid-January, you don't see much for teal. They're normally gone. So I was super surprised. I ended up hitting the call a couple times, and the birds actually completely switched back into the decoys. They had passed me, and they kind of hooked back into the decoys, and they all came and lit into the decoys. So I jumped up with the first shot, killed 2, and then I ended up getting a third. If my shooting was on a little more, I definitely could have had another bird, but nevertheless, that's clip number 3. So clip number 2 took place on opening day. Now I will note, Charles and I live pretty close to each other, within 5 or 10 minutes of each other. Now our buddy Tony, he lives like an hour and a half away. So the 3 of us wanted to go on a hunt together. So Charles and I decided we'd make the commute up towards Tony's place. So we met at a spot, ton of bird action there. We just didn't set up the greatest that day. There's no pre-made blind or anything, so we started the day by putting up some burlap and whatnot, concealing ourselves that way. Ended up working for the ducks in the morning, but never worked for the geese that came in the afternoon. But anyway, this clip is right after first light. A group of ducks come in, and it's Tony and Charles jumping up and killing 2 of the ducks. Now, I never shot this day. I was running the big camera to try to get some opening season footage. So anyway, that is clip number 2. I hope you enjoy.
Give it to him.
Nice shooting, boys. Well, guys, we made it to clip number 1. I really hope you're enjoying this video. I'll just remind you all to slap that like button and also subscribe if you haven't already. That really helps me out on this channel. This last clip, guys, was awesome. Now, this is, when I think of duck hunting, this is the way I think duck hunting should always be. You remember in clip number 3 where I said how nasty of a day it was? When I shot the 3 teal, talking about how much it was blowing that day and how much rain there was. Well, this took place on that same day, and it just goes to show that sometimes hard work and hours put in pays off. So what ended up happening is after we shot those 3 teal, my buddy Mike and I jumped in his boat. We switched spots a couple times. Well, this was the last place that we went to. And the reason we chose to go there, it was actually Mike who wanted to go there. He's a very knowledgeable duck person. He recognized that the ducks kept wanting to be in the grass in front of this area. And also the way the wind was blowing, it was directly on our back. So that means the birds would have to kind of bow up coming into us. So right before we were about to leave, we were about to call it a day. And he said, you know what, let's try over there. We did. We killed 7 birds in a time frame of 1.5 minutes. That's a wicked, wicked, wicked day, if you ask me. So anyway, that's what this clip is. You're going to notice I cut it up a couple times because I didn't want to just roll a straight minute and a half. But literally as the ducks were floating out from where we shot them, more were coming in, and we ended up killing 7. So that is the last clip. I hope you guys enjoy. Once again, slap the like button, subscribe if you enjoy, comment below, and we'll see you next time.
That's better shooting.
There we go. There we are. There's 3 dead birds.
Oh my God, we got 4 coming right here.
Okay, these 2 are coming too.
These two.
Take them.
Nice shot. I got 2.
Oh, I got 2 as well.
I got 2.